Oh, that's a good opening.
This could be the offset chamber.
Another anomaly is this one in the northern tip of the swamp.
Today, I'm going to tell you something that will leave you all speechless. Everyone is desperate to know about the treasure of Oak Island for a long time. We only had intriguing theories, but nothing concrete to prove what actually happened here. What sets this moment apart from previous interpretations is how we are approaching this mystery today. We are no longer limited to old maps or speculation passed down through generations. We are using science, advanced technology, and engineering to suggest what is actually beneath the surface. And what we are seeing suggests that this island was worked on with scholarship, craftsmanship, and purpose. As we uncover new evidence, it all seems less improbable. One discovery naturally leads to another. The formations below cannot be explained by natural processes alone. There are ancient clues that beg the question of who might have been here, why they went to such great lengths. We are still searching, and we are still cautious. But for the first time, it feels like this island is beginning to make sense. We are no longer chasing a story. We are chasing evidence. And slowly, Oak Island is revealing a clearer picture of its past.
For that reason alone, it's worth looking at.
That piece of cut wood there?
It cut wood or not?
I'll go get it.
One of those could be that box. Would a metal box give you that anomaly?
For sure, yeah.
When we looked over the results from Jeremy's newest work, it shifted our focus in a very real way. His survey didn't just show scattered activity, it highlighted one specific zone that stood apart from everything else. The response was concentrated and consistent, the kind of signal that tells us there's something below the surface that doesn't belong there naturally. What's important here isn't just the signal itself, but the context around it. This part of the swamp has come up before in old references and early observations, but until now there was never a solid reason to stay on it. Jeremy's data changes that. It gives us a measurable reason to believe this area was intentionally used, not just shaped by time and water. The swamp has always been easy to dismiss for years. Features like the so-called eye were written off as coincidence or natural erosion. But when you step back and look closely, some elements don't line up with that explanation. The layout, the materials, and now the subsurface readings suggest planning rather than chance. What we're seeing now is a place that may have been deliberately chosen and deliberately altered. We don't know what's buried there, and we're not jumping to conclusions, but the evidence is telling us that this spot wasn't ignored by the people who came before us. And on Oak Island, when the evidence points this clearly in one direction, it's something we have to follow. The new data from the money pit forced us to look at things differently deep below the surface. The scans picked up an empty space where solid ground should be. That alone is unusual, but what makes it stand out is how clean and controlled it appears. This isn't a natural break in the earth. The lines are too straight, the space too intentional. Creating something like this at that depth would have required planning, skill, and a clear reason for doing it.
Okay, now we're getting an image. Image coming in.
Whoa! Oh, that's a good opening.
It is a significant opening.
It's pretty distinct.
Yeah.
What we're seeing now forces us to rethink what lies beneath this area. The scans aren't showing a simple gap in the ground. They're revealing an organized space with clear edges that point to deliberate construction rather than natural collapse. As the imaging improves, a clear route begins to emerge below the surface. It's not isolated to a single point. It continues beyond where we made contact, suggesting it was meant to connect to something else. That kind of design only makes sense if there was a reason to move through it. Additional signals nearby show signs of dense or altered material, which could mean structural support or the sealed space close by put together. This isn't background noise or coincidence. It's a meaningful discovery, one that gives us a real reason to believe this area was built to hide and protect something important. The latest scans from Lot 10 completely shift our perspective beneath the edge of the swamp. Radar revealed large hidden features that suggest the ground here was heavily altered long ago. This doesn't resemble natural terrain. It looks like an area that was intentionally shaped, possibly to control water and transform the landscape itself. If that's the case, the swamp may not be a natural formation at all, but the result of deliberate human effort. That realization ties everything together. When land is reshaped on this scale, it's done for a reason, and on Oak Island, that reason was almost certainly to conceal something meant to stay hidden. With permits finally on the way and excavation plans firmly in place, it feels like standing at the threshold of something historic after centuries of unanswered questions. The mystery of Oak Island isn't just being searched anymore, it's being confronted. This has become a recovery mission. The treasure, whatever it may be, feels closer than it ever has. And with that realization comes the weight of history. We know we're not just chasing stories anymore, we're chasing answers. We return once again to the southern edge of the swamp, an area that has quietly yielded some of the island's most intriguing discoveries over the years. Ship-related artifacts have surfaced here before, many dating between the 15th and 18th centuries. But one find changed everything. A piece of ship's railing dated to the 8th century. That single artifact forced us to ask a question no one expected. Who was here hundreds of years before recorded history says they should have been. As excavation continues, something remarkable begins to emerge from the mud. A curved wooden structure takes shape, and its form is unmistakable. It resembles part of a ship's keel or a runner, something designed to protect a vessel as it was pulled ashore. If that's what this is, then it points to organized maritime activity on Oak Island far earlier than anyone imagined. Digging deeper, we uncover something even more compelling, a wall made of wooden planks arranged both horizontally and vertically. This immediately echoes claims made years ago by a treasure hunter who believed a man-made structure was buried beneath the swamp. If this wall is real, then the implications are enormous. It suggests the swamp itself may not be natural at all, but deliberately constructed to conceal something valuable. We brought in a geoscientist to take a closer look at the swamp, and what he found was striking. Buried beneath the mud was a layer of red sediment, the same material found under the old stone road nearby. That connection can't be accidental. It hints at a design, a purpose set in motion. Hundreds of years ago, for the first time, the swamp doesn't just look like a natural feature. It might have been part of a system, maybe even a platform leading to something hidden. Then came the maps. Zena Halper's research opened a window into the past, showing us that Oak Island was far from unknown. One map dates back to 1179. Another, from the 14th century, is detailed and puzzling, filled with cryptic markings. A single dot labeled Rodan caught our attention. Could it be linked to Prince Henry Sinclair's 1398 voyage? And what about the Whispers of the Knights Templar? Their presence here has always hovered at the edges of the story, but these maps bring the connection into focus. The French map from 1347 adds another layer. Words like anchor and valve appear, mysterious in a way that still leaves us guessing. Whatever this was, it wasn't accidental. Someone wanted it mapped, documented, and protected. Standing near the old hatch, the pieces start to come together. This isn't just about finding treasure, it's about uncovering centuries of deliberate planning. Every artifact, every layer of sediment, every line on these maps points to the same conclusion. Oak Island was shaped with intention, not left to chance. Out by Dave Blankenship's place, we pull out the old maps, laying them side by side with modern satellite images. It's quiet, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes you hold your breath. And then suddenly everything shifts. The lines start to connect, the contours of the island, the hidden inlets, the strange bumps in the terrain. They all snap into place. And there it is, a small glaring spot on the map. Could it be the hatch? After decades of searching, could we finally be on the edge of something real? Oak Island has a way of teasing you. It never gives its secrets willingly. We have no idea what the hatch actually looks like. Could it be stone, metal, or even wood that has long rotted away? That's the beauty and the frustration of this place. You have to think creatively to look for patterns others might miss. Jack Begley notices something crucial. That bright spot appears on both the old map and the satellite images, and it seems to mark a hole. A hole that might have been hiding in plain sight all along. Even the skeptics feel it, the pulse of possibility surging through us all. Marty and I sit back and consider the implications. Pirates, privateers, maybe even the Templars themselves. Whoever put this here wanted it hidden, protected, buried deep, and that's exactly why we keep coming back. This isn't just about treasure, it's about history, mystery, and the story that has been waiting silent beneath the surface for centuries. Every new clue pulls us further into a labyrinth. The traps, the dead ends, the buried secrets, they all make the victories sweeter. Every small discovery fuels the chase. And yet the road ahead is unpredictable. There's no guarantee that the hatch will hold the answers we crave, but hope, that stubborn, unyielding hope, is what drives us forward. We expand the dig, set up our gear, and dive into the painstaking work. Every scoop of earth could bring us closer to something extraordinary. Hours turn into days. The sun burns overhead. We're exhausted, covered in dirt. We can already picture it. Something lifted from the ground that hasn't seen light in centuries. Gold relics proof, and if not treasure, then at least answers. Pieces of a story that the world has long forgotten. Weeks pass. We uncover fragments, pottery tools, remnants of old structures. Each one hints at the people who were here before us, but none provide the ultimate key. We step up our efforts and bring in ground-penetrating radar. Expensive, yes, but when the stakes are this high, nothing can be spared. The scan shows a hollow space beneath the earth, close to our dig site. Our focus narrows. Every shovel is lifted with care. Every stone is examined meticulously. And then it happens. The moment you dream about, we strike something solid but not natural. It's different. Man-made, the digging slows. Every movement, careful, deliberate, and bit by bit, a shape begins to take form. Flat, rectangular, and in that instant, a chill runs through us. After all these years, all the myths, all the theories, we are finally standing on the threshold. Whatever lies beneath Oak Island, we are knocking on its door. The ground beneath us seemed heavier than usual, as if the island itself were holding its breath. Every scoop of dirt, every careful brush of soil felt like we were peeling back the layers of history. And then it appeared, the hatch old, rusted, buried under decades of earth, and yet impossibly intact. My heart skipped a beat. After years of chasing legends, after so many dead ends and frustrations, here it was, the doorway Oak Island had been hiding all along. We gathered around it silent. You could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on us. What lay beneath? Treasure? Ancient relics? or yet another puzzle the island had crafted to test those who dared to dig too deep. The questions raced through our minds, but none of them mattered more than this. The unknown awaited, and we were about to confront it. Marty reminded us to proceed slowly. Safety first. Every inch of the hatch was examined, every crevice, every corroded corner. We even ran a metal detector over it, hoping for a clue. The readings were vague, but the message was clear. Something was down there, something real. Lifting the hatch was no small feat. It was massive, unyielding, as if it were guarding its secrets with every ounce of weight. We strained together, hands slipping, muscles burning, until finally, creak by creak, it began to rise. And then with one final push, the door surrendered. Darkness, a void that swallowed the light from our flashlights, cold and deep and unbroken. For a moment, all we could hear was our own breathing, the silence almost deafening. Then, gradually, our eyes adjusted, revealing the stone steps that descended into the abyss, ancient worn smooth by countless years, slick with moss and the dampness of centuries. They seemed to invite us into the island's secret heart. A chill rose from below, carrying the scent of earth, decay and mystery. Flashlights in hand, one by one, we began the descent. Each step was measured, deliberate. The walls closed in. The air grew colder, heavier. Every sound, the scrape of stone underfoot, the whisper of air through the tunnel, felt like the island itself was speaking to us. And then it hit me. This wasn't just a hatch, it wasn't just a tunnel, this was history. Alive and breathing. Every stone, every shadow, every echo told a story of human ambition, secrecy, and obsession. And standing there on those ancient steps, I realized something profound. Whatever lay ahead wasn't just a discovery. It was a connection to every generation that had chased the same mystery before us, and now it was our turn, descending the stone steps. The world above us faded into silence. The air was thick, damp, carrying the scent of earth and time itself. We entered a narrow corridor carved from solid stone, so low we had to bend, the walls closing in just enough to remind us how far we were from the surface. Ahead, darkness swallowed the passage. How far it stretched, what lay beyond, we didn't know, but we had no choice but to keep moving forward. The further we went, the heavier the anticipation became. Water dripped from unseen cracks, echoing through the tunnel like the heartbeat of the island itself. The floor was jagged, scattered with loose stones that threatened to trip us, but every careful step only sharpened our senses. We were venturing into a place untouched for centuries, a hidden world that Oak Island had guarded jealously. And then, as if the island had been guiding us all along, the corridor opened into a vast chamber. The ceiling soared above us, arched and shadowed. Strange symbols covered the walls, ancient markings that seemed to whisper secrets we couldn't yet understand. The air was heavy with history. It was more than a room. It was a message from the past, frozen in time, waiting for discovery. In the center of the chamber stood a stone table layered with dust and the weight of centuries. On it lay objects that drew us closer like magnets. Scrolls, brittle and yellowed with age, alongside chests carved with intricate symbols that mirrored the walls. Our hearts raced. Could this be the treasure we had spent years chasing? We carefully opened one of the chests. Gold coins glimmered faintly under our flashlight beams, each one a tangible proof that Oak Island's mysteries were real. It wasn't the colossal hoard legends spoke of, but it was real. It was ancient, and it was enough to ignite our imaginations and fuel our determination. But the chamber had more to reveal at the far end. A massive stone slab blocked another doorway, daring us to see what lay beyond. With combined effort, we shifted it just enough to slip through, and what we found took our breath away. A smaller room lined with shelves, each holding dozens of intricately carved boxes, Every box seemed to tell its own story, each artifact a fragment of a life carefully preserved. This wasn't just treasure, it was a collection, a legacy painstakingly hidden for centuries. Who had assembled this? Why had it been buried so carefully? The questions raced through our minds, answers just out of reach. We spent hours documenting every detail, knowing we had only scratched the surface. Each artifact, each symbol, each chest was a piece of a puzzle Oak Island had been protecting for generations. Climbing back to the surface, sunlight hit our faces differently. It felt sharper, warmer, almost like the island was acknowledging our discovery. We weren't just carrying gold or relics. We were carrying history, proof that perseverance, patience, and belief could reveal the unimaginable. Oak Island had surrendered one secret, but we knew many more lay hidden, waiting for those bold enough to uncover them. The hunt was far from over, but in that moment we knew something profound. Oak Island still had its mysteries, still had its treasure, and we were closer than ever to unraveling them.